Hello you plonkers and welcome back to another video on the Drewzy channel. We're back today with another AFL season predictions. I did this at the start of the year, halfway through the year, and now we get to the pointy end of the season. I've decided I'm going to do another predictions video to milk the views. No, but I'm going to do this video particularly on the sort of top 12 teams. Anywhere from about 12th to that last 8th spot is up for grabs, and then in the top 4 that's shuffling around as well. So I just thought I'd make a video, do a ladder predictor and see where these teams have ended up. So I've done a ladder predictor. I'm now going to show you what that looks like. If you like the video, drop a like, drop a sub. If your team doesn't make the 8, don't get salty. I'll have a rationale for that. Let's get into the video. Alright, I'm not going to talk about the bottom side, so I'm just going to rattle through them quickly. I've got North 18th, Hawthorn 17th, Collingwood 16th, Adelaide 15th, Gold Coast 14th, and I'll stop it there. So there you go, those are the irrelevant sides in the scenario at the moment. So coming in at 13th, that crop of teams that has almost been pushing for the 8 this season, but is the stinkiest of the lot. I've gone with Carlton. Now Carlton have to play the Saints, they have to play Gold Coast, Port Adelaide and GWS, and to be honest I think those 4 sides are better than Carlton on recent form. Carlton obviously lost last week to the bottom of the table North Melbourne, who have been playing well, to be fair to them, the Kangas, but Carlton as a developing side, a side whose fans' expectations expect them to be up in the 8 very soon. They're pretty far off the pace to Carlton fans' disgust. They get results here or there, but they never really contend with the top 8 side. They haven't beaten the top 8 side this season, I believe. And yeah, it's been a while since you've had a really good result to make an argument for Carlton being a top 8 side. And out of those ones outside of the 8, you're just not as good, I don't think, at the moment. So sorry, Carlton fans. I'm going to put you in 13th. Hopefully the ship starts to turn eventually, because it's a big ship trying to turn and it just keeps getting stuck. But hopefully, for Carlton fans' sake, that turns around next season. 13th, I have you finishing the season in. Now at 12th, and rather harshly, I've put my Fremantle Dockers. I'm a massive Freo fan, and I'm as optimistic for this side as anyone. But God, they are frustrating. They are a frustrating side. As soon as the pressure mounts up on us against a good side, we crumble. Just like a cheese pie or apple pie. Apple cheese pie crumble. I don't really mind if Freo make the 8 or not. I've said this many times on multiple channels that the next few weeks are like finals for us. I said that 2 weeks ago when we had Geelong and Sydney. Both those games we didn't show up for most of the game, so it's been very disappointing. Our run home consists of St Kilda, West Coast, Brisbane and Richmond. So out of these sides we have the hardest run home. I think we can pip a result. We've got West Coast at home, Brisbane at home, Richmond at home. So 3 results. We played well at home. I think we can pip at least one of those. If we can pip 2, we could potentially make finals. But, you know, I've been let down by Freo too many times. I'm not going to take the bait again this season. So I'm just going to have to say Dockers have a measly 12th place finish. So I don't think I've actually predicted Freo to win many more games this season at all on the predictor. And because of that, unfortunately, the Saints have hopped up to 11th spot, and their dreadful season, somehow they still finish above the Dockers. The Saints also have a hard run home. They've got Carlton, well that's easy, that's a win. They've got Sydney, Geelong and Freo. So that game against Freo could decide that the rankings, whether or not either side will make the 8, I don't know. But I think the ladder position will switch on the result of that game. They've had a tough couple of weeks, the Sainters. They come over to the West and they pushed West Coast pretty well. I was quite impressed with the performance, to be fair, but just narrowly going down by 8 points, I believe. Rowan Marshall was out, and I think he's probably St Kilda's most important player, because when he's in the side, it seems like your Jack Steele's click, your midfield just clicks. Maxi King has been coming into form as well. I think St Kilda have had a decent second half of the season. That slow start at the beginning of the year, diabolical performances, genuine lack of effort some weeks, and then really good results like that one against West Coast at home earlier in the season as well. So it's just been too hot and cold this season for the Saints, and I think it'll cost them a final shot, but they could probably make it next year because the list quality is there. Unfortunate season for the Saints because they had a lot higher expectations, but I don't think you're going to make the 8, unfortunately. In at number 10, I've gone with the Richmond Tigers. They're currently sitting in 10th. Now, I think that Dustin Martin injury has just put a hole in their season. It's popped their bubble, burst their spleen, burst their kidney even. They've got a relatively easy run to the end of the season. They've got Freo, which is a game that I've actually tipped Freo in that one this week, but I could be just blinded by hope. They've got North Melbourne, GWS and Hawthorn, so they could potentially go on a 4-win tear and just sneak into the 8. I wouldn't put it past them, but with Dusty out, I think he is the rock that holds that side together. They're a very systems-based side, and Dusty is like the oil that makes all the systems run smoothly. They had that good win against the Lions, and then they showed up against Geelong, who are the most informed side in the comp, to be fair, but they just didn't look up for it really. So after 3 premierships in 4 years, I think the Tigers are going to miss the 8 this season. Coming in at 9th, I've predicted on the ladder predictor Essendon to come in at 9th, but having said that, I could see them or Richmond being 9th. I'm undecided, but the ladder predictor has told me Essendon, so I'm going to stick to that and go with Essendon. Now, I didn't see this season coming from Essendon. They've been very good. The young talent that they have acquired in the last few years has begun to bolster their side. Darcy Parish has become an All-Australian midfielder. If he doesn't get it, that'll be absolutely ridiculous, but I believe he will. Obviously, the draft picks last year with Nick Cox, Archie Perkins. Nick Cox has become one of my favourite players to watch in the league. He's a very Kevin Durant-esque player. I know he's a basketballer, but he's just a slim reaper and I love him. Archie Perkins is looking like another star for the future, and you've had your injuries as well. That midfield was shot to bits earlier in the season with Draper Ruckman going down. Andy McGrath's missed a lot of the season with a PCL injury, I believe. Dill Shields out. Jai Caldwell, he was looking good in the early rounds and he's gone as well. But this package he's been delivering later on in the season, he's come into some good form, and I think Essendon fans will be happy with the season that you've had. I don't think you'll make finals. I don't think you're quite finals ready yet. Could be wrong. What would I know? I'm a geezer sitting in a room talking football in front of a camera. What would I know? Absolutely nothing. But this is my opinion. Building very nicely though, Essendon. I'm impressed. Nick Hind, another player that I forgot to mention. What an absolute pickup he's been. That dash off the half back line has literally just replaced Sard, and it's probably been better. He's probably been a better player this season than Sard. So good on the recruiting, the youngsters, the up-and-coming stars of the side who have finally begun to flourish at Essendon, but I think you'll just miss out this season. I reckon you'll finish 9th. So in 8th spot, that goes to the GWS, that's an S, Giants. They've got quite a hard run home, the Giants. They've got Port Adelaide, Geelong, Richmond and Carlton. So I think they'll beat Richmond and Carlton. Can we just take a second, right? Just forget how big clubs are, your Carltons, your Richmonds, your Collingwoods, right? Just push that out the door. GWS are one of the best sides in the competition. I'm telling you right now, they were in a grand final 2 years ago, and that talent keeps growing. Tom Green in that midfield now. He looks like a ready-made footballer. AFL level footballer, and their stars are starting to click again. Your Whitfields, your Wards, Canelio's been out all season, but they've still been getting good results against good sides. They beat Melbourne at home, even though Melbourne haven't been great in the last few months, but it's been the games against sides that are outside of the A that they don't seem to get motivated for. But they beat Essendon. That was a massive result. It pushed them into the 8, left Essendon outside of the 8, and I think that's the difference. I think GWS could probably just hold on to this spot and make a finals run. And I know if GWS play their best footy, that is premiership footy, but can they bring it consistently? We'll see this final series. Stay tuned. In its 7th, I've got the current 7th on the ladder, the Wet Toast, Wet Wipe Eagle Weagle Dogs. Now they've got a pretty challenging run home, the Eagles. They've got Collingwood away, Melbourne at home, Freo away game but in Perth, and then Brisbane away. So that Brisbane away you can chalk off. They're not going to win that. They don't win at the Gabba. And West Coast had a very, very bad couple of weeks, losing to North Melbourne, losing to Sydney, then losing to the Bulldogs, getting pumped in both of those games. It was looking very dark for West Coast, but they've started to turn that big colloquial ship that I was telling you about. Hey Siri, what does colloquial mean?
Of language used in ordinary or familiar conversation, not formal or literary.
We'll roll with it. But that colloquial ship is turning, right? And they've beat Adelaide away. A decent result, solid performance. They come back to Perth, play St Kilda, who have been looking decent in the last few weeks, and they win. It wasn't the greatest performance, but they did what they had to do to get the job done, and that's all you can ask. They're finally getting all their injured stars back into the side, and not just back into the side, but they're starting to play together again. Tim Kelly, Elliot Yeo, they're more important players. Dom Sheed's racking up the ball for fun, but this is an aging list, and the time is nigh to get another flag, because if they don't get it in the next couple of years, players like Shuey, McGovern, Kennedy, they're all getting older. They're not getting any younger. I don't really rate West Coast young talent. They have good young players, but not enough of it. So they're going to make the 8, I reckon, and they're going to really need a big finals push. I don't see them making a prelim. If they do, fair play to them, but I hope they get pumped in it. But I reckon you'll finish 7th West Coast. Now, this is where it starts to get hairy, because currently 6th on the ladder is Sydney, but they've got such an easy run home. Brisbane as well, relatively easy run home. I think the side that is going for that 4th spot with the hardest run home is Port Adelaide. So I've put them at 6th. They've got GWS, that's a tough game. Adelaide, they'll win. Carlton, they'll win. And the Bulldogs, that'll be a tough game as well. GWS are a top 8 side, so maybe they'll get their chance this week. Actually, they've beaten Sydney. I stand corrected. I've said this before. They have beaten a top 8 side. They beat Sydney at home. All right, I'm wrong. I apologise. The additions that they've made this year have been very solid, although they did finish top of the table last year. So, have they improved from the year that they had last year? Maybe, maybe not. But Aliir coming into the side has been huge. Orazio, when he's been in, has been great, but he's injured, which is a shame to see. But they've had other players stand up. Cole Amon on the wing. He should be an All-Australian. If you're going to put an out-and-out winger on that wing in the All-Australian side, it has to be Cole Amon. One of the best kicks in the comp, racked up the pill, absolute gun. Mitch Georgiades, that big key forward, is developing. He's getting better every single week. He didn't kick a goal on the weekend, but it doesn't matter. All right, I'm very impressed by him. Very athletic, great set shot. He'll be a star for the future. And then you've just got all of the regular contributors. Ollie Wines has had probably the season of his career. Travis Bogus had his 300th game, and he did well. Still racking up the ball, 30 touches. And then you've just got those young guns that everyone knows about. Connor Rosie, Dersma, Butters. This side is good, but due to their hard run home, I'm gonna have them finish 6th. But I think they're good enough to make a prelim. Their forward pressure is up there with the best in the comp. They just need to be able to play 4 quarters. I think that's their issue. They get complacent in games. They'll get on a bit of a run and then they'll just click pause. They'll go for a snack, get a Twix from the fridge or something. Well, I'm going to put Port to finish in 6th. One of the most informed teams in the comp, probably the 3rd most informed team in the comp, I've put at 5th. I've gone with the Sydney Swans. Their run home, I expect them to win all 4. They've got Essendon, St Kilda, North Melbourne and Gold Coast. They smashed West Coast. They beat the Bulldogs. They beat Freo. I mean, this side can play 4-quarter footy. They run hard, young talent all over the park, veteran talent, all-time talent in Buddy Franklin, who, by the way, got away with an elbow to the face on the weekend. That's an absolute crime. Josh Kennedy's still killing it. Parker's still killing it. The youngsters are loving it, playing with all these stars, learning from the greats. And Sydney just know how to get into the 8. They've been in the 8 for like most of the years I've been alive. They know how to do a rebuild, and it's looking really good. Premiership smoky, Swans in at 5th. In at 4th, I've gone with the Brisbane Lions, a side who I think deserve to be in the top 4 because on their day they are one of the best in the comp. So their run home, they've got Hawthorn, Freo, Collingwood, I believe, and West Coast. So they should probably win all of them. I would expect them to win all of them. They're a better side than all those 4. They've got Freo over here. Hopefully we can pip them. I doubt it. Although we beat them a couple years ago at home when we were worse. So could be an upset. One of my favourite players in the AFL is emerging at Brisbane at the moment. Zach Bailey, the youngster. He racks up 20 plus every week, kicks great goals, has such a high footy IQ. Very big fan of his. Their forward line's going to have to do the rest of the season without one of their big forwards, Eric Hipwood, obviously. But on the weekend, that was no issue against Gold Coast. Danaher fired. Cameron fired. Lincoln McCarthy, a very underrated player. He did really well as well. Don't think they'll win the flag this year, but I think they're good enough to make the top 4. I think they deserve to make the top 4. Brisbane Lions, 1, 2, 3... 4, you're finishing 4th. Coming in at 3rd spot is the side that I'm going for in this final series. I'm rooting for the Melbourne Demons. Their form has not been great, unfortunately, for Caden McDonald. They've only won 5 out of their last 10. From that start of the season they've had where they were looking like the premiership favourites, it's just sort of fallen apart. Their game plan has started to see cracks appear on the surface. Their run home is quite easy, but I think they'll win 3 out of 4. So they've got Gold Coast, West Coast, Adelaide and Geelong. So I expect them to lose against Geelong, win 3 out of the next 4. All they can ask for really is a top 4 finish. I think if you asked any Melbourne fan at the start of the season if you wanted a top 4 finish, they would have said, yes, please, and I'll take the receipt. They've only lost once to a top 8 side this season, and that was the Bulldogs on the weekend, and that was a very close game. So their game plan works against the best sides. Maybe it's a motivation thing. They just can't get up for the smaller games against sides like Hawthorn and GWS. I I can say that, but players should be motivated. Is it a flaw in the game plan? I don't know. But since Ben Brown's been in the side, they've been looking a bit better. Melbourne's premiership chances week on week are looking slimmer and slimmer and slimmer because some sides are rising up. We'll get to those. But I think that these are gonna finish in third. Coming in at second spot, my pre-season prediction for the flag, and my right now prediction of the flag is the Geelong bloody Cats. They are the most stacked side I think I can ever remember seeing. In every position, they are great. And I was speaking to a great Caden McDonald on the Drew Footy Show. Make sure you check that out if you haven't already on this week's episode. And he made great points on them. They are very battle-hardened. They're a great one-on-one side. They're a very mature list. They are a team of men. There's players that aren't getting games, young talented players that are being left on the sidelines for now because they are going all chips on the table. We are going for a flag, and boy, right now, do they look deadly. Run home, North, GWS, St Kilda, Melbourne. They'll win all four. They're on a tear at the moment, the Cats, with no one in their way stopping them. I think they'll finish second. They'll have Jeremy Cameron back soon, and he's not an average Joe, is he? He's an all-Australian Coleman medal winning caliber forward who's just going to bolster that side. Big Radical has been looking good up forward. Hawkins does what Tom Hawkins does. He's just as classy and as consistently great as they come. The Cats look scary. I reckon they'll pip their second spot, which of course leaves the Western Bulldogs on the top of the ladder for the 2021 AFL season. Their run home. Adelaide they win, Essendon they win, Hawthorn they win, and Port Adelaide, they're going to win all them, I think. Now we know how stacked the Bulldogs are. I think their only lacking area is their defence, but when you can get as many clearances as the Bulldogs get, it doesn't matter. Everyone knows their midfield, one of the best clearance midfields in the comp. They've got Bontempelli in there, Liberatore, he was leading clearances for a lot of this season. Bailey Smith's coming into really good form, McRae, ball magnet. Caleb Daniel off that half-back line, he's being really good and consistent again this season. Bruce and Norton, the spearheads of that forward line, they're doing really well. Cody Waitman, he's such an exciting player. I've had my eye on him for a while and he's finally getting the recognition he deserves. That big specky on Max Gawn, put him on a pedestal for the nation to see, and I'm a big fan of his. Jamara Ugle-Hagan has finally come into the side and he's contributing as well. So the Bulldogs looking very, very good, and I think they'll finish on the top of the ladder this season. And as I said, Geelong, I believe, will win the flag in my opinion. It has to be done now or never, otherwise this whole Patrick Dangerfield project is a failure. So tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, and let me know your premiership predictions right in the comments right now, your premiership predictions, so when it happens you can come back and be like, yep, told you so, take that one. I appreciate everyone who watches my videos. If you've enjoyed the video, please drop a like, subscribe, that would be very nice of you. Take care, you promise.